Hey everyone, this video shows a bit of the process of making self-love altars, and I'll be sharing what life experiences led me to creating them. These altars and the concept for them came to me during a hard time in my life. I feel like this is pretty common with my art. I feel like so much of it is born from the heaviness of healing. I look at it as a physical manifestation of taking that heaviness and working with it to create something beautiful and uplifting, to see the parts of our hearts that are still there and capable of creating joy. The first half of this year was very hard for me. I was going through a lot and I started to see my quality of life begin to deteriorate. I was at a turning point in my healing. I had to make a lot of hard decisions and I needed so much support during that time. It was a very vulnerable time for me, and I practiced reaching out to friends, some who I call cousins, and I also had to allow myself to trust that they meant it when they said that they are there for me. That's when I learned two things: that the ones I thought would be there weren't, and it's a pattern, and two, that I had more people willing to be there for me than I had thought. This experience helped me with creating joy and connections and choosing me, because I don't deserve to be isolated or to not be supported or, to constantly be flaked on. And therapy is teaching me how to not overgive, how to notice what relationships are not aligned with me, and how to nurture the ones that are and the ones that do nurture me back. I also want to acknowledge the fact that I do have Jeremy, and he gives me an endless amount of support. He comes with me to every single appointment. He takes me everywhere. Like, he is always there for me when I need him. He's been there for me since we were 17. He's my best friend and my number one supporter. But precisely because he's always there for me is why we needed our village even more, especially during the heavy times like that. It's no one's responsibility to be the sole supporter for someone. We just can't be that. And that's why having community is so important, because everyone shoulders some of that heaviness and everyone shows up in different ways. And in that way, we can truly support our loved ones. But no matter how little or how much support I get, though, no one can walk through the tunnel for me. No one can face my shadow self and my traumas for me, and no one can take away my panic attacks. That was a scary thought at first, because I was so exhausted. I didn't want to keep doing hard things. I found myself wishing I could be with my grandma in Mexico, or wishing I could talk to my great grandma now that I'm an adult. We've connected through dreams, but I felt like I needed more. And I know in my heart that she's the only one who would understand me. I wondered how these women made it alone for so long, and I grieved that they had no support either, and even less than what I have. I remembered how my great-grandmother would go to the community altar and leave offerings, candles, and prayers there. I thought about how I knew that most of those prayers were not for her, but for her loved ones. I thought about how I am still learning to put myself first, to put my heart first, and the fact that she couldn't is part of what motivates me to keep going, because it's a privilege to do this inner work. That's how the self-love altars were born. I thought about how beautiful and nice it would have been to make an altar to hold my grandmother's hearts and give them a space to share prayers for themselves. And then I thought, I am also deserving of a space like that. How can I honor the parts of me that I'm connected to when times are hard, or the parts that need to be held? What's coming up for me and what will help me feel grounded? It was my first time working on a project of this size, and it was out of my comfort zone, but that's part of the fun of creating and being an artist. I was also just happy to be creating something just for me, because I rarely do that. I was literally about to give birth to something, bring an idea to life, and that is beautiful in itself. It was an altar just for me, and I knew I was going to love it with all of its bumps and flaws. I'm completely self-taught when it comes to my art. I get easily overwhelmed by other people's approaches and the way they teach, so looking things up isn't very helpful for me. I really just go with the flow. I see it in my mind and I make it happen. I left most of it its natural red earthy color because it reminded me of my great-grandmother's house. I also love how vibrant the colors I did add looked and how well they popped. I wanted it to be simple and inviting, and that's what it feels like for me. The shelves are small because I imagined adding tiny items like crystals, rocks, feathers, miniature sculptures, or herbs. This is the altar to hold my heart. I love it. It was so much work to make, but I love seeing it every morning and starting my day with it. It's part of a larger altar, and it's a really beautiful and intentional way to wake up. I added a picture of myself because it helps me get out of my head and look at myself like I would a friend. It helps me to be kinder to myself. It serves as a reminder to create joy. Yes, there's pain and there's grief and there's anger and there's all these heavy emotions, but I and we are capable of creating joy in the smallest ways that often turn out to be the most impactful. We're capable of coexisting with grief and growing and transforming. I'm planning on making custom altars for other people. They're a lot of work and take about a month to create and finish. I would only take about one a month or one every other month in order to give myself time to unwind and focus on other projects and life in general. They'd all be simple like mine, but filled with so much love and prayers and hope. Like, this is an honor to create something like this for somebody. That's how these came to be. These are the intentions I have for them. I love all of my art. It's unique, it's original, it's handmade, and my favorite part of it all is how intentional and personal it is. I want to support you through my art always because I know what it's like to need that and struggle to find it. I want you to feel loved when you receive an item of mine. I appreciate you, and we'll talk to you soon.